Hello, Ramley and other NFL family. Payo time here with the Rams Radar, and yes, we are talking about Matthew Stafford's back injury. Some more information today. For those of you who don't know, Stafford had a practice on Saturday where apparently he threw over 60 times, according to Coach Sean McVay, and apparently that was awesome. It went really well. And the plan was to have him practice today. However, the Rams did not elect to have him practice today. And so in this video, that's what we're talking about. And we're going to talk about what is McVay saying, what's the media saying, and what is the medical terminology saying. I don't have a specific doctor I'm referencing here, but there are some medical devices that Stafford is using that we're going to look into in this video here. I'm going to watch, react. I have not seen the McVay presser yet, so my reaction is raw and genuine here. Would love for you to let me know in the comments below what you think. Feel free to like and subscribe. Let's dive into it here. So this is Sean McVay's press conference, and of course, I'll have timestamps below if you want to skip to the other parts here. But here is Sean McVay on the press conference for what is McVay saying about Stafford's injury.
The first question you guys will have is about Matthew, and like we've said, we're going to be flexible and fluid. I think more than anything, I feel for Matthew because of how much he wants to be out there and feel good. Ultimately, what ended up happening, had a great workout, felt good, but then come in today and it doesn't feel great, and so didn't think that was the right decision to be able to push him. We've kind of always talked about flexibility, being fluid with some of the plans. And I think more than anything, I feel for a guy that, I really care about, that wants to be out there more than anything else. We're going to be smart, but he didn't feel good enough, and we didn't think it was the right thing to do based on, how he woke up feeling today.
Okay. So, first things there, I love that they didn't feel, and not that they would, any kind of pressure to have Stafford out there in any kind of thing. No, this is player first organization, Los Angeles Rams. That is big win right there, right? If Stafford didn't feel up for going, even though they had planned on having him practice, absolutely the right decision to do. Keep him out. And I know McVay, he kind of spoke pretty bluntly there, and that's because he's talking about a guy that he cares about, his player. And that's a good coach right there.
Yeah, he just didn't, it didn't respond the way that you wanted it to. When he was out here working out, it was great. And then, it's like anything else, let's communicate. We all know there's nobody that's tougher than this guy.
Yep.
And so we are going to still be safe. But I think more than anything, it's like, he wants to be out there more than anybody. His teammates can't wait for him to be out there. But I'm going to defer to, Reggie and Dr. Watkins,
Yep.
and then listening to Matthew's feedback, because we just felt like, it wasn't in alignment with how he was feeling to progress accordingly.
And again, McVay is doing a lot here, and I appreciate this, right? Because Stafford and Reggie and Dr. Watkins, they don't have to face the media like this, and that's a good thing, right? So McVay is doing the good job of taking the questions here from the reporters, and the reporters doing a good job asking the questions that fans want to hear, right? Because that's kind of how this works. And then you got guys on YouTube like me who are just watching and reacting to it. But let's continue. Can't hear the.
I don't know if we've gotten to that point yet. It would be individual. That was kind of part of the plan, but the plan was for him to be able to go today, and that didn't come to fruition. And so I think ultimately what we want to be able to do is take it a day at a time. I think that's healthy for everybody. Sometimes when you set expectations, they're not met. What's the first response? There's frustration, and that's okay to feel that way, but how can we move forward accordingly, and most importantly, support a guy that when he gets out here, we're going to be really excited about it. But kind of like I've told you guys from day one, I'll defer to the experts. I'll defer to Matthew. Nobody's tougher than this guy. And so we're going to be smart with it. And, I know he wanted to be out here more than anybody else, but we just didn't, talking to Reggie, felt like this was the right approach, just based on some of the feedback we got from him. Here's what I would say.
Okay, so it sounds like they're asking him about, is there concern about Stafford not being with the team leading up to the season?
say, I think the fair answer is I'm going to take it a day at a time as well, because I can't be 27 days from now in Houston. We have to be able to have agility and flexibility, and that's not exclusive to Matthew. That's really for all of our guys. So I think the most important thing is, number one, my job is to support him, put my arm around him, and let him know that, hey, love you. I'm sorry that we're going through this, but we will be. Let's keep a positive mindset and let's continue to attack this thing to try to be able to get our hands around it so that he can feel as good as possible when we open up against Houston.
Okay.
I do think it's important to be able to get some work in, but not at the expense of following the plan that we've talked about. And so I think the truest thing is stay one day at a time, continue to support him, and then I'll defer to the experts on, where we're at with things that are a little bit outside of my area.
Okay. So my concern here is McVay's repeated line, defer to the experts, which, is a media savvy line for sure. But maybe there's something. Oh, okay. Let's keep listening.
Area of expertise, but I do have total trust and confidence in our medical group. You guys know how I feel about Reggie and the medical advice that he's getting, and nobody wants to get it figured out more than he does as well.
Yeah. We noticed this, I guess, hyperbolic brief.
Yeah.
When did that arrive? Was that always for the plan, or is that here?
Yeah. No, that's separate. It's actually a time machine. If you saw the year 1 to year 9, I've been.
Okay, I'll just pause here. What he's talking about, which I'm going to talk about later in this video, is that one of these has shown up to the Rams training camp right here. I think it's called an unmortal chamber. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correct. But Adam here says it's a wellness device that aims to optimize human performance and promote holistic health through a combination of non-invasive technologies. And so it's a trailer that showed up, and they have a bed that looks like this in it that apparently Stafford is using. So that's what McVay's talking about here.
Sitting in that thing for a while, looking. So, no, it's a recovery deal. There's a lot of different things, red light therapy, a lot of different modalities. And so, Reggie's always on the cutting edge of some different things that can help our players recover and overall health and wellness. And so that's what it's alignment in. And, feel free to sneak in there, Gary. You might like it. That's what he was doing today, but that's kind of normal for any of our players.
Okay.
It wasn't anything specifically related to his back that he was doing in there.
Okay, that right there, peace of mind. That I like that it's there, and that seemed quite genuine. McVay was very much kind of relaxed more in that, not as tense as he was earlier in this.
You know what? I don't have a damn clue. I think this is a new thing that we're experimenting with. Reggie's always got some sort of cool stuff, and I know that his intentions are always geared towards making sure that we have, some of those little edges in this league, but about providing as good of setting and situation for our players, especially as it relates to the recovery. And so he's always at the forefront of that stuff.
Can't hear the question.
In regards to just in general, or yeah, I think consistency.
Okay.
I think the first thing is you got to connect with these guys, understand where they're at, making sure that you.
Okay, the title here is how to help players through frustration. So I'm going to skip past that here, and players are trying to practice. Okay, they talk about Stafford one more time here.
Last one, yes.
That hasn't been a conversation that we've had. I think it's more along the line.
So the question is asking about surgery with Stafford, and he's saying that's not a conversation they've had.
Lines of, this week kind of represented that target date of really starting to be able to implement him back. The workout was a step in the right direction, and then, I'm glad that he's able to give us the feedback so we can say, let's pull back here. That hasn't been something that we've talked about. I haven't gone down that road yet in terms of those types of conversations. There's been a lot of conversations about what's the best method of how we want to approach it. That hasn't been something that comes up yet. Okay?
If you were playing this week,
I don't know that. I think he still probably, would be able to play.
Oh, whoa, okay. So I think I heard that right. The reporter asked if Stafford was playing this week, would he be able to play? And McVay is changing his tune a bit, because previously last week he was saying, "Oh, if there was a game day, Stafford would be our quarterback."
Just based on how he feels, but because of how he felt overall, it's like, okay, what's the risk reward with us being 27 days out? Now, I'm not minimizing how important every single day is. I don't want that to get mixed up. But when you are making decisions, you have to say, okay, number one, what's best for the player, and then what's best for our football team. And in this instance, the approach, knowing that he was going to do some individual and how he felt, just didn't think that was worth it for us. But whether he'd be the one that would be able to tell you whether or not he'd be able to play. I mean, he looked damn good throwing the other day, but nobody's tougher than him and has overcome more stuff than he has. But you also, want to see if we can have him feeling as good as possible, because, that's super important, and I feel like that's a real responsibility that we take, as coaches, to try to put our guys in the right spots to be successful, but also to be able to feel good.
Okay, so in that 8-minute and 20-second press conference, pretty much, I'd say at least 60% of it or more probably was about Stafford's back. Okay, interesting. That's Sean McVay and what he's saying about it. Okay, before I go to the media here, I just want to say this. When this all started, I was at a 3 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10 concern. Then it went to a 4 out of 10 when he wasn't practicing, or when they said he went week to week. Then last week I was down to a 2 out of 10 and then a 1 out of 10 when I heard that he was throwing on Saturday. After that McVay press conference, I'm going back up to a 4 out of 10. I trust in the Rams medical staff. I trust that Sean McVay is doing, his player, he's protecting him. And I think that it is pain management. It is managing his health for long-term success. We saw Stafford throwing to kids last week at training camp. He's been there. I'm not a medical professional. I don't claim to be. I'm just a dude on YouTube who loves the Los Angeles Rams. But I'm bumping up my level of concern to a 4 out of 10. Let me know yours in the comments. What are you out of 10? 10 being we got to trade for we got to figure out a new quarterback situation. Like Stafford's never going to play again. Or 1, he's totally going to play. Why are you even making a video about this? It's not a big deal. And on that scale, I appreciate what Coach McVay is saying there. I appreciate that they're being cautious with Stafford. And you know what? Let's see what the media is talking about here. So we're going to go to Matt Hasselbeck.
So Matt Stafford he's not even dressing for practice. And as I've aged, I feel pretty good.
Okay, Colin.
My back isn't great. I wake up, Stafford's got a back injury.
I'm going to skip past the Colin Cowherd relatability thing that media seems to do. Every media professional who talks about this talks about their back soreness. I'm just saying.
Does that worry you a little?
Well, your back doesn't surprise me, first off, okay? Sitting is the new smoking. You sit all day long, so your back probably feels like trash. No, I am concerned about Matthew Stafford's back. I had a bad back injury in 2008. Usually you can tell how bad a quarterback's back injury is by if the team sends him to California to see Dr. Bob Watkins. If they do that, it's serious. Now, it's a little harder here because he's already in LA. But no, I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned if you take the factors of his age and all those types of things. Listen, in 2008, I hurt my back in a preseason game against Jared Allen and the Minnesota Vikings. It was just like this weird thing. It wasn't that bad, but it never got better. It never got better that entire year. And, the closest thing I could equate it to is like you burn your mouth like on a hot piece of pizza or something. And it doesn't get better quick. And that's kind of what the back injury typically is. There's all different types of back injuries, but they just don't seem to get better quick. And then even if they do get better, you've missed all this time of like heavy weight training or physicality that goes into your off season, and you're just not the version of yourself that you normally are. So I'd be very concerned if I was a Rams fan right now, just because Stafford is valuable and it's just not a great place to be. I've been there.
Okay. So Matt Hasselbeck, former NFL quarterback, it's saying if he was a Rams fan, he'd be concerned. It's sobering for sure. And again, I don't want to be someone who's contributing to unnecessary panic or anything, but I also am a very passionate Rams fan, and I can't help but be concerned, right? I definitely, first and foremost, Stafford the player, right? He's, the person. Sorry, Stafford the person. He wants to be out there, no doubt. But Stafford as a player, the quarterback of this team, that is a loaded team. Like, this team is ready to win some games, but they need Stafford out there to live up to this team's potential. And I know that Stafford knows that. And I've heard Stafford talk about, being present for his team before, right? And if him sitting out and him healing and doing all these things, being poked and prodded by doctors, is ultimately setting the Rams up for success because of his care for his teammates, that is the takeaway here, that Stafford's doing the right thing. Where the concern is, now I hear the concern, like, he hasn't even been hit yet. He hasn't been throwing yet. Where's his chemistry going to be with Devontae Adams and the rest of his wide receivers? Those are legitimate concerns, and I don't just throw them away. But at the same time, I do think this is a medical issue that we just don't know. We don't have enough information, and we don't need enough information. It's not our business to know each and every fiber of Stafford's back, right? People gave him a hard time for getting an epidural, and if anything, that is concerning to me. We've heard of a couple different treatment options for Stafford's back, and is it possible that they're not working? And as Matt Hasselbeck just said, is this something that, even if Stafford could play right now, is he going to be dealing with pain all season long? I don't know if that's sustainable. I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts. I'll give one more look here to the medical device that has apparently become at Rams training camp in the trailer that looks like this. But apparently it's for all the Rams players, but Stafford was apparently using it today. So we're hoping that it's, part of the healing that he needs. And let's be clear, if this becomes a non-story and Stafford is out there slinging it week 1, looking just fine, Reggie and Dr. Watkins, make sure they get a bonus or a pay raise or something. But anyway, those are just my thoughts. I'm looking forward to reading your comments below. Tell me what's your worry scale here for Stafford. As always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams. Feel free to check out some of my other videos, and of course you can come join me. I'll be doing a watch party for the Rams versus Chargers coming up this Saturday, and every Rams game for the rest of the season. Would love to see you there.